Mr. Cowan. The House Armed Services Committee approved an $8 billion more than requested by the Defense Secretary, including House members' favorite programs, without regard to overall strategy set by the administration. Do you see this as a problem? And if so, what could or should be done about it? And you have a minute, and then we'll do some rebuttal.
Well, thanks, Ann. It's a great question. Right now, we need to keep an eye on all costs, particularly in the military budget. We need to have a great military. We need to have an effective military, a military that's very surgical. But we should also depend upon what the military themselves have recommended for their programs and not get involved in situations where members in their own individual districts are pushing for programs to benefit people in their own district. That's not right. And it's not what we should be encouraging at all.
Okay. Mr. Moody?
Yes, as far as Congress moving ahead without consulting the executive, I think that this is just indicative of the bantering and the posturing and the games that we see in Washington, D.C. on behalf of both Democrats and Republicans. The federal government is bogged down with special interests, and many of these special interests benefit from the wars in the Middle East and the military bases throughout the world. It's important for us to begin bringing our troops home, begin focusing on protecting the homeland as we move into the future. The Middle East has become just a cesspool of violence, and it's time for us to leave as soon as possible and do what we can to stop spending another dime on that region.
Thank you. And now we'll take 30 seconds more in case either of you have something additional to add to this subject.
Well, it's somewhat related. One thing that I'm very concerned about is what I would call the privatization of our military adventures, let's put it that way, where there are a lot of companies benefiting and profiting greatly from us going overseas, and you know, this is expensive. Each of these wars has been over $1 trillion. We're going to be paying for these wars for the next 50 or 60 years, with these kids coming home, needing care and long-term care, and it's something we need to remember all the time.
Okay, Mr. Moody, anything else?
Yes, I'd just like to follow up on some facts regarding the war in Afghanistan. It's now America's longest standing war, lasting nearly 11 years. It's claimed the lives of over 1,500 soldiers, and it's cost the American taxpayer over $500 billion. It's also important to note that the Obama administration and Congress both spent $93.8 billion on the war in 2010 alone, and that's nearly the combined cost of the first 6 years of the entire conflict. So we're increasing spending, and we're having poor results.
Okay. Thank you. And now moving back to a question that